everyone. Welcome to episode 19. Before we get to episode 19, I just have to ask you to subscribe, rate, and review to Beers in the Lot podcast on whatever podcast app you listen on. Also, make sure you tell your friends, your family, your teammates, your dogs, your cats, whoever, your mailman, doesn't matter, tell them about the podcast. Coming up on episode 19, we're talking about the NHL's return in the baseball-like schedule that they'll be playing, what we think about helmet sponsors and the stickers on NHL players' helmets, and the NWHL has a TV contract with NBC Sports Network, and that is a big deal. Welcome to episode 19.
Popping bottles tonight, huh, boys?
Well, yeah.
Always.
What are you pouring, Rigsby?
I have the Canine Winter Warmer from Flying Dog. Our friends at Flying Dog.
A winter staple.
Yes, yeah. Winter Warmer. It's good. It's always good with a good steak or a good burger or something like that. I don't have one with me, but, you know.
Yeah, good hearty meal.
Unfortunately, no steak.
Yeah, well, you can't really. I couldn't be sitting here chomping on a steak and talking to you guys.
Steak tonight,
If people thought our etiquette was bad now, wait till they see Rigsby munching on his steak.
No, man, I have manners. We talked about this today in the group text. Maybe we'll get to that later, but we talked about this already in the group text. What about you, Johnny? What do you have tonight?
I'm drinking a Wizards and Gargoyles hazy coffee IPA from Stone and Modern Times. It's a collaboration they do. Really good can art. And I like IPAs. So, yeah. Nice little winter type beer. What about you, Aaron?
I have myself another Flying Dog brew here. A Vicious Hook fruit punch sour. Pretty good.
There we go, Aaron.
How about you, Daniel? What you drinking?
I have a Sierra Nevada Hot Bullet double IPA. Doubling up on the IPAs tonight.
Double them up. Good stuff. Did I miss this thing about etiquette? What did we say?
Well, in the group text, I don't know how the conversation started, but we were talking about how to help
the shopping cart.
No. Oh yeah, it was the shopping cart. Yeah,
right.
The shopping cart theory, right?
Yep.
Which is if you're able to be self-governed, it means that you will return the shopping cart to the corral. And if you just leave it out in the middle of the parking lot like an animal, that you cannot self-govern yourself. So then that led to, do you help
the servers out by stacking your plates, right?
Do you stack your plates and the dishes and everything when you go to a restaurant?
Right.
And so there's some controversy on that. And we went through that on the group text.
That's right. I remember now.
And then there was the whole thing about, what do you do with trash? What do you do with napkins? Are they paper napkins or linen napkins?
Suffice it to say, just be a good person. That's kind of what we came up with.
Yeah,
right.
Because we're a hockey podcast, I would like to say, I bet you Gritty does not return his shopping cart.
Gritty never returns shopping
Gritty
carts.
probably steals the shopping carts and he's walking around the city of Philadelphia with it.
Yeah.
Slime ball.
Like he doesn't have a car, right? So he probably takes the shopping cart and then does odd jobs around the house with it, or goes to the Home Depot and buys a bunch of stuff and then uses the shopping cart and takes it home.
What Gritty does? Gritty takes $8 in quarters to Aldi and undoes all the carts and leaves them all around the entire parking lot.
And doesn't even go shopping.
And doesn't shop there.
Because he is a grade A scumbag.
Scumbag.
Well, that's probably where they wouldn't let him into the bubble last year. He showed up to the Canadian border with all his belongings in a shopping cart, and they're like, "No, you can't come across the border, sir. You're not happening."
Did you see Kevin Hayes was trying to get him in the bubble?
Yeah,
I used
Sent
to
out a
kind of
tweet
like
today.
him.
I did too. Even though,
Used to kinda like
even
him.
though he is on Philly, I did kind of like Kevin Hayes. But now
Yeah.
since he's supporting Gritty, piercing the bubble,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
That bubble would get it would get infected just by having his presence.
And it wouldn't even be by COVID.
It wouldn't be by COVID.
There's other diseases you got to worry about with Gritty. That's all I'm saying.
You're welcome, Philly PR team. So hockey. They're gonna play some of it again. That's cool. We got the new schedule out. They're starting up January 13th.
Yeah, they finally kind of hammered everything down, and I guess one way they're going to make up some of the revenue is helmet ads, which some people are up in arms about. We talked about it a little while ago. I have no problem.
Yeah, we called it.
I have no problem with a helmet ad. No problem at all.
No, I have no issue with it. We already talked about it.
Mhm.
I think, and we kind of did the whole thought process through the whole thing about jerseys
Hashtag
and
sell the
helmets
rink.
and all this.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Like put all the ads you want on the ice and the boards and all that kind of stuff. Probably like, let's leave the jerseys alone if we can. Helmets are fair game, I think. I mean, I guess the Devils, the Caps came out today. Looked like Nashville is going with Bridgestone on their helmets. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and
People
it's the same sponsors as their arena currently, so it's a good way just to extend some value into that partnership since fans aren't in the arena, I guess.
Yeah.
So
and people are like, some people are pissed off about it, and I get it because they're purists in the sanctity of the uniform and all that kind of stuff. But think about this. What is the reverse retro jersey? What is it really?
Cash grab.
It's a cash grab.
Yeah.
It's a twisting of the rules a bit to make a little bit more money. So
Mhm.
if that's what you got to do to put stickers on helmets to make a little bit more money and make the season work, like Danny said before, like, we just want to watch hockey, and if that's what makes it work,
hockey.
Yeah,
it makes it work, right?
exactly.
well, and we kind of said it too. A lot of these guys that have either played juniors or NCAA or any type of double IHF events, you will have sponsors on your helmet. It's a given, and especially since World Juniors is starting, you're going to see a lot of that, and no one seems to complain about that. They think it's totally fine, even though those are on national sweaters. With USA, Canada, Sweden, Finland, etc.
Yeah.
So no one seems to complain when they do it there. So funny how, like, someone in Arizona is complaining they have a helmet sticker because the team's actually going to generate some revenue. I mean, that's unfortunate.
So do you think any of the teams will go away from their rink sponsor and go to like a different sponsor on their helmet?
I think it's a money. Who's paying?
Right.
I mean,
Sure, it's money.
So if the arena sponsor doesn't pay, then who's got the most money? Yeah,
they'll find somebody, right? Like, somebody will want to get their logo out there on TV.
Sure.
I don't think that's an issue. I think with the guys that came out today with the arena sponsors, like the tweet that I sent you guys from the Sports Business Journal that I guess first announced it. I don't know, but that guy Mark Burns was basically saying those arena sponsor deals are like make good deals. So the arena sponsors aren't getting as much visibility this year because fans aren't going to be there, and the season is shorter. So they were looking for something to make up for that. And I think, with Bridgestone and Capital One with the Caps, and then Prudential with the Devils, it's definitely just a make good deal for them.
Well, and I guess so far the nice thing is all those companies are international companies, really. So So they get a lot of bang for the buck having a helmet sticker.
Yeah, for sure.
On the helmet.
For sure.
It just exposes more people to their brand. And especially kind of what we saw from the Caps. Yeah, and especially what we saw from the Caps today, where I forget exactly how it was worded. Rigsby helped me out here. It was something to the effect of, "Oh, this jersey's presented by Capital One," or something like that.
Yeah. So then, the Caps then extended it even further, and they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, not only are they our helmet partner, but they're also our reverse retro partner." So the reverse retros are officially like, and I'm going to mess this up, but it's the reverse retros by Adidas presented by Capital One or something like that. Like, so they're definitely just trying to, like, for those major partners, trying to give them as much as they can, considering the situation, which, I guess in the business world, that's doing right by them and their partners.
Dude, can you imagine if like the Dallas Stars have like the Joe Rogan experience fucking on their
Oh my god! If it has JRE on there, oh my god! Holy shit!
Train by day, podcast Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day. No, dude, like Pittsburgh, if it ain't Heinz, I don't want to see it. Like Caps already have Capital One, but they should have had
Five Guys.
Five Guys is pretty fucking good. Tampa should have Sea-Doo, the jet skis.
Sea-Doo.
Or whatever type of shorts that Pat Maroon pissed his pants in.
Oh. Dude, I bet I'm willing to bet that guy knew he was pissing his pants too.
Oh yeah, he was just like, how am I going to go to the bathroom during the middle of all this? I'll just go here.
Yeah,
not going to happen.
He just looks like one of those guys.
Yeah,
dude, I saw a video of him training. He threw like a medicine ball on the ground like 10 times. I was like, "Oh, I'm tired." And I'm like, "Dude, did you just like start your workout? Like, what the fuck are you doing?"
Dude, he is one of us.
One of us.
Pat Maroon is one of us, dude. He could easily transition into OFBG.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Oh, we got to talk about the rivalry schedules.
The fierce rivalries.
Well, yeah. Like there's not going to be any fans in arenas, but with the division alignment, I think it's going to be awesome, because you're going to have like Pittsburgh, Philly, Washington, and some other people in the East Division, and all those guys are going to play each other 8 times.
It's going to be Thunderdome
8 times.
In that division.
Yeah,
and they were saying that the way the schedules are going to work to limit travel and COVID protocol and all that stuff.
Oh, there's series, like weekend series.
They're going to be 2, 3, and I think there's a few 4-game series. It's going to be like baseball
with some of the teams,
right?
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Oh man, it's going to be awesome. So you want to talk about rivalries? What happens when you play a team
4th game when you're dead tired? Oh
right?
yeah.
That's or no, like when you play a team the first time, it's like, okay, whatever. The second time, some stuff happens, and then the third time, all that bad blood's built up, right? And it all spills over, and I think those games are going to be awesome.
They're going to be good.
Well, especially kind of, they're only allowing the top 4 teams in a division to make it. So let's say, just given the bad blood of recent years, let's say the last weekend of the series, teams are jockeying for position. You got something in the schedule like Pittsburgh, Islanders at Pittsburgh, Caps, Philly, Caps playing in Philly, something like that.
Yeah.
And you need, certain teams need to split to get, their seeding, or even let's say something like a situation where they got to take 3 out of 4 in the last weekend to make the playoffs, stuff like that. I mean, that just goes that and that's the stuff that I really like. A few years ago when the Caps and Flyers Pens and Flyers played in the playoffs, and they had that horrible series where Brizgalov and Fleury couldn't stop a beach ball, and there were fights every 20 seconds. Part of it was because they played like 3 times in the last 10 days of the regular season. There was even Granato and Laviolette were yelling at each other on the glass in between the coaches' glass there, just screaming at each other. And they had all that bad blood that's spilled into the playoffs.
Yeah, man.
So can you imagine just like, oh, great, we played this team, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hey, what's our schedule like? Oh, next Friday, Saturday, we're back in Pittsburgh. Like stuff like that. Like it's just, imagine just like you were saying, just the bad blood and the hatred. I almost kind of like it because you do the last couple of years of the NHL, and it is cool. You get to go to the Western Conference and do the Western Conference swing and even kind of the Southern swing and whatnot. I really want to see more Caps Flyers, Pens Flyers, Pens Islanders,
Pens Caps.
Pens Caps. All the teams we're pretty fortunate as fans of Caps and Pens. All the teams we really kind of want to beat and play against, we're all in that division. There's a lot of teams in that division where either like I hate them or I don't like that player or so on and so forth. So
for sure. Yeah.
Now I could see this going on next season even if they get a bunch of good matchups this season. Just kind of going off the same kind of schedule, but then only making you play like the West teams or any of the other teams in other divisions like one time as opposed to like a couple of times. Because, like you said, I think there's going to be a lot of great battles this upcoming season with this new format.
Oh, what if we're playing 56 games this time? That means that there's like
come on, math.
20, 25, 24 other games that you have to play or that we're not getting this season. So if there's 24 and you go hit the West teams once or whatever, you play, you get 26, whatever it is, 25-ish games. You can hit the one.
Good thing there's no video.
Can you do it? Wait, is there a way they can play, Aaron? Is there a way they can play ish games? They can play ish amount of games.
Yeah, you can play an ish game over here. Yeah,
is that
what I'm saying? So if there's 25-ish games, 26 specifically, then you could hit all the West teams once. If you're an Eastern Conference team, you hit all the West teams once, and then you hit the other divisions. You just split your games a little bit differently than we are now. So if we're playing your own division 8 times, I mean that's a bit much. But what if it was like 6 or 7 times, or specifically with your rivals, you do play them 8, maybe even more. Maybe if they change the schedule up so that you're playing 2 of your big rivals 10 times a season, that'd be amazing, especially if you're catching them towards the end of the season. That'd be great.
Well, going back to that West Coast thing, even in a regular year, most teams on the East will do a West Coast swing, right? They'll do 2, right? They'll do the Western Canadian teams as a trip, and then they'll do the California, Arizona kind of trip, right? And then maybe Colorado or Dallas on the way back or something like that. So if they were already planning for something like that, maybe you stack, groups of those series together and you make your swing, out west or to Western Canada or something. And you do that. I think that definitely works. And it would be awesome. It's really, again, like I'm a baseball fan too. And I know John is too. Like it's a baseball schedule. Like those teams, when they go on trips or when they have people come in town, they're playing at least, a 3-game series, maybe 4. You play kind of your 2, if it's a 3-game series, you kind of play your 2 regular primetime matchups, and then you have like an afternoon game as your getaway game so that the team that's leaving town can get on the plane before dark or whatever and get home early. So I think it presents like a lot of really cool kind of nuances to the schedule. We might get some afternoon hockey, which is cool. I think everyone enjoyed that over the summer with return to play. So yeah, man, I think it's going to be like the schedule excites me. The division alignment excites me. The timeline maybe not so much, but we'll see.
Well, and two, the other thing, like you kind of said with baseball that we both enjoy, if any of those NHL players, which I'm willing to bet 99% of them do, if you play juniors or NCAA or even youth hockey, you're playing 2 or 3 games a weekend. If you're in CHL or NCAA, you're playing the same team twice, whether it's a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday with a Sunday matinee game. That's the way it is. And it cuts down on travel costs, obviously, for those leagues, but also you can get the max amount of games in a short, compressed schedule type thing.
Well, even AHL, like I've been to
yeah. They all play those
Hershey Bears game playing Wilkes-Barre, and then the next night we played in Wilkes-Barre. So
yeah, they'll do
awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like they'll do a home and home or a 2-game stint, however they do it, and I see nothing wrong with it. And if you look at it like, you know, Hershey Bears, Wilkes-Barre Baby Penguins, or Lehigh Valley Phantoms playing, you know, that triad there, those 3 teams, like that's how you get those Saturday night brawls, essentially.
Yeah, man.
They hate each other, and I think it's awesome. I love it, but it does nothing for the league other than elevate that play. I think those teams will get excited for it, and also if it's a 56 game schedule, not that there's any nights off, obviously, but if you're playing a team that you know is going to come at you constantly, I'd rather see harder fought games. Not saying that even in the 82 game schedule, you get kind of these duds of games, but you do see kind of something where teams come off these back-to-backs and they're just, I wouldn't say flat because that's not the right word because they're clearly trying, but you can kind of, there's not enough jam there, if that's the right word.
Yeah,
kind of like October hockey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's more them getting their legs. I think, yeah. Can you imagine that? Like something where, you know, a team goes 0-4 to start the season just because they can't get their legs. Like, you know, I mentioned it with the, you know, restart. Caps, Pens, historically very slow out of the gate for whatever reason. Unsure why. They kind of hit a rut early on, and then they have to play catch up in a 56 game season. That's going to add some intrigue very early on.
I know we kind of talked about it. The East is definitely the most stacked division out of all 4.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you guys see as being the weakest division?
Which one has Detroit and Nashville?
I think it's Central.
Central? Yeah.
Because that is Colorado.
Because they've got Florida.
They
got the
Florida.
Florida. Colorado. Yeah. Me personally, I think it's the West. So it's Anaheim, Arizona, those 2 teams. Meh. Colorado, strong. Los Angeles, Minnesota Wild, San Jose Sharks, Vegas, they'll win that division, St. Louis Blues.
It's sneaky, though. It
is sneaky.
Arizona's sneaky. I think
they're spunky. Yeah, they could steal some games.
The Wild are not going to, like...
I think they're trending in the right direction.
They'll be in the top 4 in that division. They're not going to like go anywhere, but they'll be in the top 4 in that division. It's a sneaky division, I think. The Central is the weakest. Like Detroit and like Nashville's, they're
trending the wrong way.
Right, they're going the wrong direction. Detroit is Detroit. They're rebuilding. Chicago is rebuilding, even though.
They're not.
They don't. The players say they not. The players say they don't. But the players say they aren't rebuilding. The management is saying they're rebuilding. Right? So that'll be interesting.
So they're a little conflicted.
Is Duncan Keith still in the league?
Yes.
Yeah. Duncan Hines.
Duncan Hines.
Yeah.
Danny, you kind of mentioned, the funny thing is you mentioned the Canadian division. I think that's going to be one of the sneakier, stronger divisions.
Or Aaron did because he doesn't believe that Matthews versus McDavid 8 times is going to be.
No, I think that's great, but
that's going to be amazing.
That's how the league's going to make
Ottawa's, and
they need that. That's why they did it. I guarantee. They're like, what can we do to make money?
The Jets are still decent. Calgary's going
Calgary's-
the right way.
Calgary's
They're going the right way.
Vancouver's going the right way.
Yes, and Vancouver's another year older with a goalie.
Right. Like
And
that division is pretty darn good, man.
And the Jets, no one said this. I know you and I did, Rigsby, and I think you did too, Danny. If they didn't get hurt, they would have done some damage last year.
They would have done some damage.
I really think that. Think like Vegas, but they got the injury bug at first game, essentially. Vegas got hurt, unfortunately, in the conference finals, but that they can do some damage, that Jets team. And the Sens, they're going to be scrappy. Hopefully, I like Matt Murray. I hope he does all right. But I think they're trending upwards in a good direction. DJ Smith's a good coach. He clearly wants his team to develop. He came out today and said, I was reading in The Athletic, he said, I have no problem with my teams, my guys playing against the strong North Division because we're playing against the best players in the league. I mean, if they're, I'm sure some people kind of balk at that statement, but if you kind of look, like, there's a lot of youth in that Canadian division on Toronto and Edmonton, Calgary. There's a lot to be said for those teams. They're very good. They're very talented. Montreal, they could definitely steal some games. I won't say anything. I like Carey Price.
That team is around. They're always in the mix, right? So you can't, like, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to.
The hometown crowd's not going to buy calls this year.
Well, yeah.
What are you talking about? Montreal typical.
That never happened.
Montreal typical.
That'll happen every day of every year. The only division where I look kind of like what you guys were saying with the Central, the West, the Ducks, the Sharks, and the Kings. I just don't see that.
But the rest of the division's good, man.
It's kind of funny. Like 4 years ago, we talk about, the Ducks, the Kings, and the Sharks. That's a gauntlet if you had to do that road trip.
Yeah, right.
That's just like, they're like, you're 0-3. If you win one, great. If you win two, that's amazing. If you win three, it's like, oh my God, you're a cup favorite. And now.
What are you
drinking?
What is that?
Is that a 40?
It's a sour. 40.
Why do you have a King Cobra? What are you doing?
That's a huge bottle. What is that?
It's a Devil's Backbone Tropical Latitude Sour Fruit Ale.
I would never get maybe I won't say this, but I'm going to say it. I would never get a Devil's Backbone Sour. Just saying.
I'm sorry. Let me say this. It was free.
All right. Well, all right.
Free 99?
It was given to me. It was given to me.
Is that like a 750 ml bottle? What is that? That's a big bottle.
No, I just have small hands.
Wait, put it next to your arms so I can get a true.
That's what she said.
My arms will make the bottle look small. I will drink this whole thing though.
Well, you opened it.
Yeah,
you got him.
Yeah, I mean, that's etiquette again.
Etiquette. It's got to be a good person.
We're into etiquette here.
It's almost up there with returning the cart. I mean,
you wouldn't leave your cart by the side of the curb. You wouldn't leave an unopened beer undrank.
Right.
And on that note, Rigo's going back to the cooler.
Yeah. On that note. All right, we got to talk about NWHL. Really good thing today. We heard from NBC. They're going to broadcast part of the Isobel Cup semifinals and finals for the National Women's Hockey League, which is a good thing for women's hockey, lessening the gap between the men's game and the women's game.
Yeah,
they're getting a major network airing their primetime championship. They already got a sponsor earlier this summer. A really big sponsor of $1 million+, which is awesome for the women's game. I'm excited to see it. Rigsby and I were talking about a little while ago. Women's hockey, think it's great. The skill is always there. And now the fact that they can showcase it on a major network, it just does nothing but grow the game.
Yeah, that's huge.
Absolutely. Who are you pulling for, Aaron? Do you have a National Women's Hockey League team yet?
I think I've decided on the Buffalo Buttes.
Buffalo Buttes.
Specifically because I got my start in hockey watching the Rangers win the cup in 1994. So I saw Stefan Matteau swing it in front and score, and to take them past the conference finals. And they just signed Allison Matteau, daughter of Stefan. So this past summer. So I'm picking a player, and that's how I'm picking my team. So I'm going with the Buttes.
Nothing wrong with that. Rigsby, do you have a team?
Yeah. So
I already know
This is
this. I
gonna
set
be
him up.
good.
I set him up so good.
I'm going with the Toronto Six
Oh, okay.
for the
Okay.
Six God, Drizzy,
Yeah.
Drake.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Started
They got
from
a
the
sick
bottom.
logo too. I like
Start
that
from
logo.
the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Daniel, what about you? You got a team yet? You got a horse in the race?
I don't have a team yet. I kind of like the Connecticut Whale,
Okay.
but I don't know yet. So I'll have to look further into it, and I'll let you guys know. Maybe next time we record, I'll have a team. Who do you got?
That works.
Who do you got, John?
Me personally, I'm a New York Riveters or Metropolitan Riveters.
You would be.
What is that supposed to mean? I'm very confused at that statement.
Why you picked the Rivers?
Amanda Kessel was on that team a little while ago.
Oh, yeah.
And now the truth
So-
comes out.
Yes.
I didn't know that. That might have affected my choice.
Yeah.
Really?
The better Kessel.
Yeah.
The better Kessel.
The better
yeah.
Kessel. Gold winning Kessel.
Right.
Oh.
But I actually don't think she's playing this season, but I'll go with the Metro Riveters. So it's
hopefully
pretty
we
cool.
can see some of their games on TV.
Oh, hopefully hopefully they make it to the semifinals and it'll be good. I'm sure we'll have some things to say about it. And like we kind of said, especially if there are young girls out there watching the sport, that'll only just elevate the game.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's huge. It's huge for them. I mean, I know like coaching and stuff, we've seen more and more girls coming into the game now at the younger ages, which is only going to grow it further. And then getting that stage now on NBC Sports, like that's huge. It's a big deal. And, they always, since 98, we've always seen women's hockey like in the Olympics and that kind of stuff. But seeing a pro league now and an outlet there, that's going to be huge for the hockey community.
Well, and I think that's also a good tool for USA Hockey too, because that's such a crown jewel for USA Hockey. They're very pleased, and I think not just them, but I also think women's sports. They can always depend on Team USA. We always battle against Canada for that gold medal, and it's a big deal. It's very special. I know I always watch it because I have a really good interest in USA Hockey. I want to see USA Hockey teams. Ideally, if we could sweep all IIHF events, it doesn't always happen that way, but that is a big thing in the Olympics. You always want to see USA Hockey men's and women's do really well. And unfortunately for the men's, they only get World Championship and then the Olympics, and clearly those aren't the two most watched events in men's hockey. Obviously, it's NHL Stanley Cup. Women's, it is the Olympics or bust, essentially. Those are the two events. So unless you really go and seek out women's hockey, you really don't get a lot of news or video on it. So the fact it's on a major network, it's going to elevate it, like we've all said.
Yeah, and I think that it's specifically good because you're going to get people who are just like flipping through channels and they're going to stop. And anytime that there is more hockey on the TV to potentially catch somebody while they're channel surfing, that's how you grow the game. And hockey is a unique sport in that somebody could just flip onto a women's game and not realize they're watching women. And that's how far women's hockey has come as well, is that girls are good and people could watch pro women's hockey and not realize they're watching women's hockey. And that's how you get interested in hockey in general. So it's going to grow the sport. It's a great thing.
Well, we're going to watch it. As long as there's hockey on, we're watching it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. it doesn't matter. Whatever level, I don't care. Like if it's on TV or I can find it somewhere, like I'm gonna watch it.
Watching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think too, sometimes with the women's stories, you hear it a lot of the like a good majority of the girls, they played, on boys teams up until they either essentially went to college to go play women's hockey or, almost like their last year in midget. And they were always one of the top players on the boys teams and stuff like that. Or you hear, kind of in the Kessel family, they all just played hockey. And you look at Phil and Amanda, they're, the two best. Phil won a Stanley Cup and Amanda has a gold medal to her name. So really good pedigree there in that family, obviously.
Phil won 2 Stanley Cups. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, right. Two time
Stanley Cup champion.
And he's still even the best Kessel.
Yeah,
he's still not the best Kessel.
Hey, you know what though? Hey, Rigsby, he's still a Stanley Cup champion.
That's right.
He's still a Stanley Cup champion.
He is.
And I bet you he would wreck Coney.
Oh my God, yeah, he would.
He does love hot dogs.
Yeah, dogs. That's going to be it tonight, everybody. Thanks for listening. Me and the guys want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Don't forget to tell your friends, your family, your teammates about our podcast if you like it. Also, be sure to tune in for next week's podcast. We got somebody special coming on. Thanks again for listening. Merry Christmas.